Today we're going to talk about solving literal equations. Sometimes it's also called solve an equation for a specific variable. Please make sure that you take out a piece of loose leaf paper if you chose not to print this out. So to solve a literal equation, the first thing that you want to do is find the variable you want to solve for. Then use addition and subtraction to move all the terms to the other side of the equal sign, away from the variable you want. Then divide to isolate the variable, meaning get the variable by itself. So if we look at this first one, it says, if 3x plus y equals 6, then x equals, which means the x here is what we want by itself. So the first thing that we're going to do is use addition or subtraction. So here, in order to get the x by itself, I'm going to minus y from each side. So if I minus y here and minus y here, I'm left with 3x equals, I cannot combine 6 minus y, so I'm going to write it as 6 minus y. Again, my goal here is to get the x by itself. If I want the x by itself, the next step is to get rid of the 3. So since that says 3 times x, the opposite of times is divide, so I'm going to divide each side by 3. And I'm left with x equals 6 minus y over 3, because it says to solve for x. Sometimes if it's multiple choice, they might actually divide each term, so they might divide this out and divide this out. So you could see this as x equals 6 divided by 3 is 2, and minus y over 3. Another way that they could write this answer is x equals 2 minus 1/3 y. All three of these mean the exact same thing. Next one, it says if w equals xy plus z, then y equals. So again, that means I want the y by itself. I want the y here by itself. So the first thing that I'm going to do is add or subtract. So here, if I minus z from both sides, that helps me get the y by itself. I cannot combine a w and a z, so w minus z equals xy. Again, my goal is to get the y by itself. So to get the y by itself, I have to get rid of the x. The opposite of multiplying is dividing, so I'm going to divide each side by x. I end up with y equals w minus z over x. Again, sometimes it will be split, so if you see w over x minus z over x equals y, these two here mean the exact same thing. Both of them are acceptable answers. The next one, another way they can word this is solve for r in terms of a, p, and t. Again, focus on the first part there, solve for r. That means I want to get the r, which is right here, by itself. This here, in terms of a, p, and t, just mean those are the other letters in the question. So again, the first thing I want to do is add or subtract. I'm going to move this p over to the other side. So now I have capital A minus p equals PRT. Again, my goal is to get this r by itself. In order to get rid of the p and the t that are connected with the r, these are all multiply, the opposite of multiply is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by pt, and then I am left with a minus p over pt equals r, because here those cancel and those cancel. Again, if they wanted to write it a little differently, you could have a over pt minus p over pt equals r. These two mean the exact same thing. Last one. It says if v minus w over x minus y equals z, then x is equal to, meaning I want x by itself. So I want the x by itself. So if we go back to our unit on proportions, the first thing I would do is put this over 1. Since I have two terms here, I would lock them in parentheses. And if I cross multiply, 1 times this leaves me with v minus w. And if I go the other way, I have z times x minus y. Again, my goal is to get x by itself. Right now, the x is kind of locked in the parentheses. So first, I am going to divide by z. That cancels here, and I have v minus w over z equals x minus y. Again, my goal is to get the x by itself. So I need to get rid of that y. The opposite of minus y is plus y. So if I add y to both sides, I end up with v minus w over z plus y equals x. Again, if you have any questions, please make sure you write them down and either email me or ask me next time you see me.